Caitlin Clark has been missing now for 5 straight games for the Indiana Fever, and it gave an ESPN pundit the thought process that would, I don't know, push her to make a stupid statement, which is typical of what ESPN pundits do when it comes to Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. But Carolyn Peck stood on a mountain once again and decided to make the most asinine, ridiculous, insane, absurd, outrageous comment I think I've ever heard in my life. I think I've ever heard in my life where she said that the Indiana Fever are better without Caitlin Clark. More dangerous team without Caitlin Clark. Unbelievably stupid comment, but it's par for the course when it comes to ESPN pundits. This is the same person last year who started using net PER as her logic for why Angel Reese was the rookie of the year mid-season over Caitlin Clark, despite the statistics clearly indicating that Caitlin Clark was better and was having a better season and was largely the reason why Indiana was even decent. Indiana was a team that had not made the playoffs in 8 years, was 13-27 the year before, and Caitlin Clark shows up and they go 20-20 her first year. I mean, she changed the entire dynamic of the WNBA, but she most importantly changed everything about the Indiana Fever. And we're going to talk about that. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way, Women's Basketball. We talk facts or feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. Appreciate all y'all continued support. Thank you to everyone who jumped on board tonight with Sunday Night Heat with myself and Ben Daniel. It's a great time. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do check it out. But in order to do so, you have to become a member of the channel. Check out, bronze member or higher. Go become a member, and you can check out the actual Sunday Night Heat that we did tonight. Appreciate y'all continued support, though, for sure. Carolyn Peck says, it's flabbergasting. Carolyn Peck says that I think that Indiana is even more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play because she's a ball dominant guard. She said the ball's in her hands a lot. So you know what you need to try to take away. But when you look at Indiana now, they've got so many weapons. Peck gave specific praise to Fever players Kelsey Mitchell, Ari McDonald, and Aaliyah Boston. Peck did not appear to give praise to Fever stars Sophie Cunningham or Lexi Hull. I don't know why they're called stars in this article because they're not stars, they're players. When you have a point guard like Kelsey Mitchell and Ari McDonald making plays on the perimeter and a post like Aaliyah Boston, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you, Indiana, they're a threat. And it's specifically on the defensive end, Peck said. Peck's comments went viral on social media, inciting the wrath of Clark loyal supporters. Barstool founder Dave Portnoy reposted the clip of Peck's comments on X, writing, "I knew this was going to happen." The popular sports commentary X account Bricks Center also shared the clip, writing, "The hatred towards Cece needs to be studied." Hundreds of smaller accounts made their criticisms of Peck's analysis known. Um, but let's talk about this because, for starters, the Indiana Fever went on to lose the very next game after she said this. They got beat on their home court by a bad LA Sparks team. They had a 4-point lead with a minute 43 to go and blew the game on their home court. Kelsey Mitchell, who she referred to as a point guard, had 19 points and 0 assists. Kelsey Mitchell's not a point guard. Was she confusing Kelsey Mitchell with Ari McDonald, who's a point guard? I don't even know if she knows who's on this team or what these players do. Kelsey Mitchell does not play point guard. She's never played point guard. She's a shooting guard. She's an undersized shooting guard, but she's a shooting guard nonetheless. Kelsey Mitchell does not pass the ball. So when she says when you have a point guard like Kelsey Mitchell, well, Kelsey Mitchell in the day after this had 19 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 steals, and 0 blocks. Don't expect her to have blocks, but zeros across the board. Does that sound like a point guard? Does that sound remotely close to a point guard? 0 assists in a game. No, it doesn't. Caitlin Clark, it's It's absolutely mind-blowing. Now, that would be like saying, and I brought this one up a few times on the lives, but there was a point when John Morant missed a lot of games a few years back for Memphis. And the Memphis Grizzlies were like 25-4, something like that, 25-2. They had a great, great record when John Morant didn't play. And people, I didn't really hear people say, oh, they're better without John Morant. Because when the playoffs came around and John Morant got hurt again, they couldn't beat anybody. Without John Morant, they couldn't win again. It couldn't win. When he was on the floor, they were contenders. When he wasn't on the floor, they disappeared. So while you may want to run a narrative that says that, oh, right now they're more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. First of all, that's statistically not correct. They won 2 games back to back, scoring 81 and 74 points. Was their defense that great? No, it wasn't. I think I've already proven that. I've proven that with my comments and what I've shown you. First of all, from the fact that you can't shoot 26% from the field in a game and tell me that's defense, or 34% from the field in a game and tell me that's defense. No, those are players missing shots. Those are players missing shots. The Minnesota Lynx missed a lot of shots. The Las Vegas Aces missed a lot of shots. It's a make-miss league. It will always be a make-miss league in basketball. When you're open, make the shot. That's it. And many of these shots are wide open shots. They miss more layups in this league than anyone on the planet. You couldn't go to the nearest park would not have players missing layups the way WNBA players have missed layups by themselves, no less. In fact, wide open shit. Aaliyah Boston's offense has decreased by to 2/3 of what it is when Caitlin Clark is on the floor. 33% reduction in her offensive production without Caitlin Clark playing. Tell me again about how Aaliyah Boston does not benefit from Caitlin Clark. Tell me about the fact that the Indiana Fever scored 102 points when Caitlin Clark played versus the New York Liberty. Yeah, they're going to have some games where they score some points, but does it mean that they're running an efficient offense? Does it mean that they're doing things that are going to win the game? Should they even be in a close game with the Los Angeles Sparks? Do you really believe that the Indiana Fever would lose a game to the Los Angeles Sparks with Caitlin Clark on the floor? The answer is fuck no. They've lost twice now without her on their home floor to the LA Sparks. The first game, they scored 75 points, blew a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Yesterday, they blew an 8-point lead late in the third quarter, blew a 4-point lead with 1:43 to go. They scored 87 points this time, gave up 89. You know what the difference was? The Sparks hit buckets. Their game versus the Dallas Wings, they weren't exceptional. The Dallas Wings can't guard anybody. So yeah, you're going to score some points on the Dallas Wings because the Dallas Wings can't guard anybody. In that first half they had against the Wings, they looked fantastic. Second half, they looked like dog shit for most of it until they saved themselves in the final 5 minutes of the game. The team is not as good offensively without Caitlin Clark. Now, might you say that the team is not as good defensively with Caitlin Clark? It's possible. You could argue that. You absolutely could argue that. I'm going to take my chances with a 20-plus point per game score and 9, 10, 11, 12 assists, along with another 5 or 6 rebounds over the backup. God bless, I love Ari McDonald, but she is not Caitlin Clark. You are not going to sit here and tell me that Ari McDonald is better than Caitlin Clark. You are not going to sit here and tell me that Ari McDonald should start ahead of Caitlin Clark. This is stupid. This is a player that was first team all WNBA. Would you ever say that the Oklahoma City Thunder are better without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Would you ever say that the Los Angeles Lakers are better without LeBron James? Would you ever say that the Denver Nuggets are better without Nikola Jokic? Would you ever say that the Orlando Magic are better without Paolo Banchero? Would you ever say that the Boston Celtics are better without Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? Would you ever say that the Golden State Warriors are better without Steph Curry? How about let me think. The Knicks, Jalen Brunson. The Sixers, Joel Embiid, or Tyrese Maxey. The Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards. Like, we can go down the list, and you would never in your life, ever in your life, hear anyone ever even insinuate that a team is better. Would the Hawks be better without Trae Young? Fuck no. Like this is, you would never in your life hear any ESPN pundit in their life ever say XYZ is better without their best player. And this woman gets on an ESPN freaking screen and says this to millions of people. And you wonder why people think this is an embarrassment. So what does Carolyn Peck now try to do after she gets absolutely skewered? Because even the dumbest people that don't like Caitlin Clark, the people that hate Caitlin Clark to the core, would never, ever in their life say that the Indiana Fever are a better team without Caitlin Clark on that floor. Sorry, stop it. Stop it. I wouldn't even sit here and tell you that the Chicago Sky are better without Angel Reese. They're not. Go through every team in the WNBA. Look what's happening with the New York Liberty. Are the Liberty better without Jonquel Jones? Fuck no. Fuck no. Are the LA Sparks better without Kelsey Plum? No. Are the Seattle Storm better? Is the Seattle Storm better without Skylar Diggins? No. Is Minnesota better without Nafisa Collier? No. Is Vegas better without Asia Wilson? Hell no. Is Dallas better without Paige Beckers? No. Atlanta, Alicia Gray? No. Washington, Brittany Sykes? No. Like Connecticut, I don't even know who's on their team, so it doesn't really matter. They suck. But even without Mabry, are they better without Mabry? No. Like you can go team by team by team by team. You're not going to sit here and look someone with a straight face and sit here and say that the team is better without their best player. It's preposterous. It's utterly preposterous. And this woman's going to sit here on a podium and sit here and spew this garbage. It's hard to stomach at a certain point. It really starts to bug you because it's like, what is the deal? Why do you hate this chick so much? Why do you have so much beef over this girl? And now she's sitting here trying to clarify. Now she's trying to clarify her comments. Bro. You know, I want to play the video because I'm sure you've seen it by now, but I still want to play the video here because you need to see this again and be reminded of how unbelievably stupid this woman truly is. It's absolutely painful that you can see people that cover the sport to say this outlandish level of shit. Just have no words for it, man. Seriously, there are no words for this type of crap. But let me put it up here for you.
You were at that game just now. Look, the Fever have been on a tear. They've won 2 in a row.
A tear. They won 2 in a. How do you call that a tear? Just listening to this nonsense. They're not at a tear. They won 2 games in a row.
25-point blowout of the Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup final.
They didn't win by 25 points over the Lynx. They won by 15. Sports Center. I'm going to play this again. Sports Center can't even get the statistics right. They won 74-59. They didn't win by a blowout over anybody. They won by 15 points. Hell, we talking about, bro? At least know what you're talking about. Let's repeat this again. On a tear, they've lost 3 of their. Let's take a look real quick. They have actually. The Lynx game doesn't count. It doesn't count. They're actually in their last 8. They're 3-4. I'm sorry, last 7 they're 3-4. You want to include the Lynx game? They're 4-4 in their last 8. That's a fact. But that's not even a game that Caitlin Clark played in 2 of those games they lost actually. So if you look from the Sparks game on, they are 2-2. How is that a tear? And they lost twice to a bad team. But let's go back.
You were at that game just now. Look, the Fever have been on a tear. They've won 2 in a row. 25-point blowout of the 15. Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup final, and then 27 against the Aces in this one. And both of those games without Caitlin Clark. How is Indiana getting this done right now?
Look, I think that Indiana is even more dangerous when Caitlin Clark doesn't play because she's a ball-dominant guard. The ball's in her hands a lot, so you know what you need to try to take away. But when you look at Indiana now, they've got so many weapons.
No, they don't have so many weapons. What the hell is she talking about? What is she talking about? I'm going to hit on that in a second.
And Kelsey Mitchell is playing out of her mind. Aaliyah Boston. I talked to Stephanie White before the game. She said in year one, Aaliyah Boston was back to the basket. Year two, two-man game. Year three, they're using her as a decision maker. And so when you have a point guard like Kelsey Mitchell and Ari McDonald
Not a point guard.
making plays on the perimeter and a post like Aaliyah Boston, I'm going to tell you, Indiana, they are a threat, and specifically on the defensive end. Stephanie is so pleased with the intensity that they're bringing defensively with their length, their switches. I mean, they've wreaked havoc on their last two opponents.
She said their length. Their length? What are you talking about? This is one of the smallest teams in the league. Length. This is one of the smallest teams in the league. They got one player over 6'3". One player over 6'3". Where is this length you're talking about? You talking about Michaela Timpson, who's 6'2"? You got an undersized shooting guard, an undersized point guard right now. A power forward in Natasha Howard, who, while she's been playing a lot better, should never shoot a jump shot outside of 8 feet. And yet somehow she ends up behind the three-point line way too much. You got Lexi Hall, who doesn't take shots like she needs to. You got Sophie Cunningham, who's done literally nothing off the bench. Like, where are these weapons you're talking about? And I'm not sitting here to shit on this team, but this team does not have weapons like we thought they were going to have. I need Lexi Hull to become a weapon. I need her to take shots every time she's open. And I don't mean open by 6 feet. I mean open by 2 feet. Because if you can't get your shot off that fast, that means you're not a shooter. I've said that before. I'll say it again. So, and you call Kelsey Mitchell a point guard. Hell are you talking about? Ball dominant guard. Luka Doncic is a ball dominant guard. He went to the finals with Dallas. Steph Curry's a ball dominant guard. What are you talking about? Anthony Edwards, ball dominant. Jalen Brunson, ball dominant. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, ball dominant. What are you talking about? This is insane. You only hear shit like this when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Ball dominant? Yes, she's ball dominant. She's their best player. Every team's best player is typically ball dominant. Nikola Jokic is ball dominant, for Christ's sakes. Let's take a look. This is her comments now, running it back, because this is how Carolyn Peck does it. Let's show her ridiculous comments here. Here we go. I'm going to share this with you now. Because, she's got to do it this way now, where she's going to sit here and try to run this shit back and lie. Carolyn Peck, I did not say Caitlin Clark is not valuable. She's a great player. For those who only see Caitlin, I was complimenting the rest of the team. No, you weren't. I love how they try to run this shit back. Complimenting the rest of the team while taking a dump on the best player. You said they're better without her. You said they're more dangerous without her. The Fever have several weapons. Again, who are they? The weapons are Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. And Aaliyah Boston's statistical scoring drops by a third without Caitlin Clark. The Fever have several weapons. Yes, they lost last night. Remember, you talked about how great their defense was. They gave up 89 points to the LA Sparks. One of the worst teams in the league. They have lost games with her. Respect to the whole Indiana Fever team. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, my God. Then here's the next comment from her dumbass, where she continues. As a coach, if you have ever prepared a scouting report, scout the Fever with and without Caitlin Clark. Let me see this here. So here she says, as a coach, if you have ever prepared a scouting report, scout the Fever with and without Caitlin Clark. What do you have to take away in both scenarios? They are different. One is not easier than the other, just different. There is a lot of talent on that team. Bullshit. Bullshit. You're not going to sit here and try to run this back and tell me it's raining when you're taking a piss on me, bro. You're not going to sit here and tell me that it's different. One is not easier than the other. Get out of here. When Caitlin Clark is on that court, you're game planning for Caitlin Clark. That's a lot harder of a game plan than game planning for Kelsey Mitchell trying to dribble and Aaliyah Boston trying to make decisions when you know she's going to get nothing around the rim because they're not running pick and roll. Are you kidding? It's a much easier man-to-man defense. You don't have to trap anybody. You don't have to trap Kelsey Mitchell. You don't have to trap Ari McDonald. You don't have to trap Aaliyah Boston. You don't have to trap anybody. You switch. It's simple. If this woman is going to sit here with a straight face and try to tell people it is just as hard to game plan for the Fever without Caitlin Clark as it is for the Fever with Caitlin Clark, come on. So it's easier to game plan for the Lakers with LeBron rather than without LeBron. It's easier to game plan for the T-Wolves without Anthony Edwards over with Anthony Edwards. It's easier to game plan for OKC with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over without. So it's harder to game plan without Shai. What are you talking about, man? And of course, there's the Glazers. There's a lot of basketball fans that just don't know basketball. No, I coached basketball. You're never in your wildest dreams going to sit here and tell somebody that it's easier to game plan with Caitlin Clark on the court over with her off the court. Stop. Oh, and then oh my God. Jesus. There are some really dumb people that actually agree with this shit, though. That's what makes it so sad. Yes, there's a different game plan when she doesn't play. When she doesn't play, there's a different game plan. Absolutely. Guarding the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark is easy. It's actually easy. It's man to man. Heck, I'm gonna be real with you. I play zone. I would play the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark in a zone. You want to know why? Because they can't shoot. The team can't shoot. Natasha Howard can't shoot. Aaliyah Boston can't shoot. They have no stretch four that can shoot. Kelsey Mitchell's hot and cold. Lexi Hall's afraid to shoot. Sophie Cunningham has been terrible. Ari McDonald can't shoot from the perimeter. Sydney Colson, when she shoots it, you're saying, no. And if it goes in, you say, yes. They don't have anyone that can shoot the ball. Caitlin Clark can shoot. Kelsey Mitchell, when she has Caitlin Clark, shoots the ball better typically. Those are their two shooters. And then Lexi Hall seems to get more open looks also when Caitlin Clark plays. That's one thing I have noticed. I mean, I still think Lexi Hall needs to shoot the ball more, regardless, but she's found open more often when Caitlin Clark is playing. Point being, to sit here and act like it's easier to guard them with Caitlin Clark on the floor. Actually, that's insane because she's drawing double teams, which leaves people open all the time. This is what ESPN hires. This is what ESPN puts out there. And it's fucking embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say about it because I've had it with Carolyn Peck. I used to have respect for that woman. I lost it last year when she said that dumb shit, and now she just continues to follow it up. I didn't say Caitlin's not valuable. No, you said they're better without her. That's what you actually said. Your words, not mine. They're more dangerous without her. Your words, not mine. I didn't say it. You said it. Like, you'd better off coming back saying, you know what? I don't know what I was thinking about when I said that shit. I was totally wrong. But they'll never do that because they can't stand Caitlin Clark. She can't stand Caitlin Clark. If it wasn't for the fact that she won a championship at Purdue, she'd be looked at in a completely different light by people about her coaching. Because if you look at her history is whatever. It's whatever. You know, she had 2 seasons with Purdue. Her first year was 23-10. Second year, 34-1. They won the championship. Then she went to Florida for 5 years and she sucked. Then she coached for the Orlando Miracle and she sucked. Her coaching career is nothing to brag home about. If it wasn't for that one magical Purdue season, you would not look at her as anything other than a fucking washout coach. But again, y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. I always want to hear what you have to say. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave it, and let me know again what your thoughts are. This is Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way Women's Basketball. Come on now.